Hello, friends. It's Wednesday, May 13th, and I'm going to try to post a brief pastoral message once a week, except I will miss next week because Jan and I are actually going to have some days of vacation next week. So I wanted to kind of update you on things that are happening around the church and also invite you to share ideas with us as we continue in this lengthy shelter in place and an extended time of connecting via online and mail instead of in person. Robbie sent out a message this last week to youth and young adults and parents saying that we have needed to cancel our planned summer service trips and some other recreational experiences because it is not at all clear that it will be safe or even possible to hold those events which require people to be in very close proximity. So what we are doing, though, instead, is we are thinking together, and I invite your input about alternative ways for our youth and young adults to engage with one another this summer. And at this point, we envision some kind of local service experience that we can do outside and keep appropriate distancing, but still interact and have the satisfaction of learning together as we serve in God's world. We are also thinking about new ways for smaller groups of members of our congregation and friends to participate with each other. We've added a parent support group that has been going very well on Tuesday nights via Zoom. We have 2 adult Bible studies now on Zoom, and we are looking to develop some other small groups. We're doing coffee hour at 2 different times on Sunday morning now via Zoom. And our worship attendance, our online attendance has been really quite good. One of the things I'm aware of, our conference has invited us to ask the question, who is being left out? And that question came up prior to our experience with the virus. But right now, I'm really aware that within our congregation, probably a group that is being left out are the people who don't have access to internet or don't have a device that will allow them to go online and participate in worship or Zoom. So one of the projects that I'm working on this month is seeing if we can't get some fairly inexpensive tablets, which are devices, and set them up so it would be very easy for somebody who's not familiar with technology to connect to our church website or to connect with a Zoom meeting. So you should be hearing more about this soon, and I've asked a couple of people to help me figure out the best way to do this. So we also, for those who do have access to internet, but who aren't real comfortable with the technology, we have a great group of young adults and some others who are happy to call you on the phone and walk you through the steps. And I realize that probably those of you watching this are the people who already have access to internet. So I'd like to encourage all of us to communicate with those as we're talking to people on the phone, to let them know that we can try to get them a device and try to help them figure that out if at all possible. I'm also making hard copies available of my sermons, which we can mail every couple of weeks, probably 2 sermons at a time. And my caveat is that the printed text of the sermon will not exactly correspond to what I probably said from the pulpit, because I'm not always completely fixed on my manuscript, but I do have a manuscript. So if you'd like to receive an unedited manuscript of a sermon so that you can read it, please let Susie know either by phone or email, and she will be happy to send that to you through the mail. We can also send our copies of our connections and the other items we're sending electronically through the mail. The reason that we don't want to do this, except for those who have no access to internet, is because of the amount of paper it takes, and also it probably would cost us about $1 each time we mail that amount of material out. That said, we want people to receive through the mail information if that's the best way for you to receive it. So please let us know. And if you're not currently on our email list and you're not receiving the twice a week messages that come from the church, one on Tuesday, Connections, and one on Friday, 3700 Pacific, then please make sure we have an updated email address, because this has been one of our primary ways of communicating right now while we're sheltering in place. So I want to say again how much I appreciate the strength and the creativity of our church. Our committees are continuing to function. We will be meeting online, and tonight we have our church council via Zoom. Our trustees met last week, and in a few minutes I'm going to be meeting with some folks here on the church campus to follow up on some native plant landscaping that we hope to do where those redwood trees used to be. So there's a lot of stuff happening. Every day we are sharing food with people in need in our neighborhood. And Alan will be organizing a food drive for El Concilio Food Pantry, which is running very low on supplies. And Robbie has also designated a day next week where people can bring their recycling so that we can continue to support that program. And our young adults and youth can come in maybe two at a time and work with Robbie from appropriate distance to prepare the recycling to take it to the center. So many of our programs and activities are continuing, even though we're having to learn to do them differently. I am overwhelmed by the generosity and the care that so many members of our church have shown through extra financial donations, through phone calls, through cards, through expressing care and concern for the people in our midst who may have lost a job or may be particularly isolated. So we are really learning to be the church in some new ways, and I'm excited about how we will carry some of these new ways into Central's future ministry. So in June, probably on June 14th, which is a Sunday, we are talking about having a virtual potluck so that we can discuss some of the ideas that our long-range planning group has been thinking about. So you'll be hearing more about that. And the message that I really want you to hear today is that the Spirit is moving in our midst. Our church is alive and well. Our ministry has not stopped, and we continue to walk alongside Jesus during this uncertain time, knowing that we are loved and cared for, and sharing that love with each other and with members of our community. So I am grateful always to be your pastor. I'm grateful to work with a wonderful team and with our incredible volunteers at Central. So I look forward to seeing you virtually very soon. Have a great week. God bless.